All right, hello everybody. Thank you for joining. I am Riley with the T Storm Chasers, and we're going to take a look at your forecast. But before we do, here is a brief word from our sponsors at Cube Portable Storage.
What are you doing?
Decluttering?
Moving? Remodeling? In need of temporary storage, emergency cleanup, or just need to declutter? Cube Portable Storage has the perfect solution. Rent your Cube Portable Storage container today.
And don't forget, they got roll-off dumpsters for the other stuff. Call Cube Storage for all your moving needs.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday out there. Hopefully you guys are having a great morning out there. Let's go ahead and jump right into this morning's video. And as we take a look at the national view, and as you can see, we have quite a difference. It is very, 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 very cold out there. It is about as cold as it gets for this time of the year. I don't think we can get any colder for this time of the year. Now, there is some moisture down here in Dixie Alley, down here in the south, but for us, we don't have anything to deal with, at least today. The only thing we got to deal with is the cold. It is just plain cold, and it is absolutely freezing at this point. This morning, we are at -10 in Sioux Falls. That is not a drill. That is actual numbers here. Actually, that is the wind chill map. Actually, let's look at some of these wind chills. -18 in Watertown. Look at some of these in Minnesota and Iowa. -20s across the region, which is what we expected. That would be the case. -20s across Minnesota and Iowa. That are some of those wind chills in the east there. Even, out towards Aberdeen, -12, -18 in Watertown, and -15 Sioux City. Now, looking at the actual temperatures, it's a little bit warmer. 3 degrees right now in Sioux Falls is the morning temp. It's 0 up in Watertown, 7 in Aberdeen. And then you go out west, it's slightly warmer, 18 in Pierre, 21 in Rapid City, 19 in Buffalo. Down into Nebraska, we got 25 in North Platte, 25, 28 in Valentine. We got 21 in O'Neill. We got 16 in Grand Island, and we got 5 in Omaha. Into Iowa, look at some of these numbers. -9 for a morning temperature in Mason City, 0 in Des Moines, -6 in Carroll, -9 in Cedar Rapids, -11 in Waterloo. Wow, that is the coldest spot on the map. -11 as well in Spencer. So not too far away from Sioux Falls, -11 right now in Spencer. That is insane. -8 in Fairmont. It is 1 in Slayton. It's -4 in Wilmer. -2 in the cities, and -9 in Rochester, and -8 in St. Cloud. So we got some bitter cold going on here. Now, when is this going to end? Well, we'll go ahead and find out here in just a moment. We'll look at a couple of other items. But first, let's hear a brief word now from our sponsors at CE Construction.
From roofing to siding, CE Construction is setting the standard across North and South Dakota. Our expert team delivers quality, durability, and trust on every project. CE Construction, Dakotans helping Dakotans with their roofing and siding needs. Call or visit us online.
All right, so starting us off here with your HRRR model run here using Pivotal Weather. And as we play out today, we don't see anything on the table today. We do not see anything in the forecast. Now, tonight, we start to see the system come in from the west, from Montana and Wyoming. It looks like northwestern South Dakota. Looks like could see some snow tonight, as you can see there. Also up into North Dakota, and then eventually central South Dakota and northeastern South Dakota, Aberdeen area over towards Mulbridge down to Pierre. That's what we're looking at for tonight for snow. And then that will slowly move east, and then by Friday morning, there could be a few flurries here in eastern South Dakota. Very light snow showers there. And then over into Minnesota as well. And then in far western South Dakota, we watched the next system come in. That is starting on Friday morning. As you can see there out west, that will kind of fizzle out a little bit. We'll get a little bit of a break here, but then by Friday night, we watch the next system come in. As you can see there, this one is a little bit more potent, And there is your first system, first bigger system of a series of different rounds here. Let's go ahead and play out the European model now. Take a look at what we can expect here. There's that system coming in from the west. It starts out in Wyoming and Montana and then moves into western Nebraska and western South Dakota into western North Dakota. And then across our region, as you can see there's your snow. Low pressure system causing this. And there is your snow. And then your day on Saturday. Look at that. By your day on Saturday, we got some heavy snow across our area. Across South Dakota, southwest Minnesota, northwest Iowa. Looks like Sioux Falls is right in the bullseye of this on Saturday afternoon. So it does look like Saturday is going to be the worst of the snow in terms of heaviness, and that will move on to the east there. And then by Sunday, it looks like another possible round of some snow out in western South Dakota mainly, and then central South Dakota. And then that will kind of fizzle out, and then we'll watch and see if there's another system coming in on Monday. As you can see there, another system maybe perhaps by Monday across northeastern South Dakota into Minnesota. Something to keep an eye on there. And then Tuesday there could be another system, but it looks like mainly going to be north of us into North Dakota and Canada, northern Minnesota. But northeastern South Dakota could still see a little bit of this activity. And then western South Dakota and Black Hills area could also see some activity there. Some we'll keep a close eye on. Now again, going back to this Alberta low here. We got an Alberta low this weekend moving through the area. And again, Saturday looks to be the worst of the days of potential snow. And again, initially comes in on Friday. And then Saturday looks to be the worst of the snow. And then Sunday, a slight chance there out west and then into central South Dakota. And then we'll see what happens next week. Next week could also be active. And looking at the GFS here, this shows us a little bit farther out here for next week. Again, not seeing a whole lot on Monday. Tuesday, there's that system. GFS paints a different picture here. Shows, by Tuesday, it shows a system coming through our area with a low pressure system. So Tuesday could be a time frame to watch for sure. European model is a little bit in disagreement, but the GFS apparently shows some snow. So just watch Tuesday with potential there. And then on Wednesday, there could be another system out west, mainly out in western South Dakota, western Nebraska. Looks like there could be a system that day. And then we'll see what happens after that. We get a little bit farther out. Looks like things start to maybe clear out by Thursday and Friday. And so that's kind of what we got here on the plate. Now looking at wind gusts, I wanted to go ahead and show this here. Looking at the HRRR, we got some strong wind gusts here to talk about. As you can see here this morning, here you go. There could be some spots here up in southwestern Minnesota into northeastern South Dakota. We can get 30 to 40 or even 40 plus mile per hour winds. Look at that. This is by early this afternoon. Look at some of these numbers coming in from Sisseton down through Watertown and down into southwestern Minnesota of 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. And even out west, Black Hills region could even see 30 to 45. And Sioux Falls could even see 30 mile per hour wind gusts today. And look at some of these numbers coming in, 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts here. There's going to be kind of a thin band here of very strong wind gusts. So heads up in those areas, northeast South Dakota, southwestern Minnesota. And there's other areas that could see, again, 25 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts. And then by tonight, things will die off. And then we'll watch and see what happens tomorrow. As looks like tomorrow we'll have wind gusts out west in excess of 30 miles per hour, 30 to 40 out west there. And then after that, we'll see what happens. But it does look like we will have some periods here of some pretty strong gusty winds. Now, real quick, I wanted to just briefly touch on this. We've been dealing with this since last night. Those wind chills, well, what are we looking at? Well, we're in the minus 20s overall across Minnesota, Iowa, and some spots here, negative teens in South Dakota. It is just plain cold out there, and we do see a little bit of an improvement, a slight improvement by the time we get towards tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like we'll rebound into the 20s and 30s for daytime highs. In fact, let's go and look at these temperatures here. We're looking at temperatures again today. Actually, we might start to climb out of it today out west, 30s to low 40s in central and western South Dakota and Nebraska there. Low 20s for Sioux Falls if we can get out of this bitter cold. And then how about your day tomorrow? Well, we're looking at temperatures in the 20s in Minnesota, 30s in Iowa, and then it looks like we could see some 30s to low 40s across South Dakota and Nebraska. Sioux Falls could even see low to mid 30s tomorrow. So that, at least there's something there to be had. I mean, it's a little bit more mild, definitely more mild than what we've been seeing. It's actually going to feel fairly decent tomorrow because we're so used to the cold now. Compared to this, it's going to feel really nice. And then how about your weekend? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't last. We get some more cold Arctic air coming from the north. As a result, we'll see teens and 20s back into the forecast. So it looks like another cold weekend ahead. And it looks like we got temperatures on Sunday reaching the single digits, even some temperatures below zero in Minnesota for daytime highs. Daytime highs, not wind chills, not overnight lows. Now, the only warm spots are going to be out west, far western South Dakota into western Nebraska, 30s to low 40s. And then how about next week? Well, looks like we might get a slight improvement on Monday with temperatures in the back into the 30s and 40s across our area. Now, east of Sioux Falls, you got temperatures in the teens and 20s, but Sioux Falls could hit 30 on Monday. And then by Tuesday, looks like similar forecast, slightly cooler in Sioux Falls, mid-20s, teens in Minnesota. But then you got 50s out here in Nebraska and western South Dakota. So even winter could see 50 degrees on Tuesday. Something to keep an eye on there. And then looking ahead here a little bit more in the forecast by Wednesday, this is 6 days out, showing about a similar picture, 20s for Sioux Falls and surrounding areas, teens in Minnesota, and then you got 30s out west in Nebraska and western South Dakota. And then by Thursday, this is 1 week out from today, you got a similar picture here. Low 30s for Sioux Falls, we got teens in Minnesota, and then we got 40s out west into Nebraska and western South Dakota. And then how about next Friday? This is 8 days out. 30s once again for Sioux Falls and surrounding areas, and then you got 50s out west, even low 60s down into Nebraska. Wow. Certainly could be a possibility there. But then by the weekend, looks like we might see a cool down by the following weekend. All right, so that's going to do it for this morning's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook and X. That is where we post the most. We are most active on those. Also, be sure to check us out on Instagram and TikTok as well. And thank you guys for tuning in this morning. We'll be back for another video later today.